Well, back with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. If you're hearing the headlines, a shooting incident leading to a fatality here in Springfield being investigated by law enforcement. And we do see gun violence in Springfield. There's gun violence in Decatur, in Peoria, in Champaign. All across the state, there's gun violence. But a lot of the headlines come out of Chicago, where you had the Memorial Holiday Weekend being the deadliest holiday weekend for Memorial Day since 2015. And Governor J.B. Pritzker has talked about addressing violence, but we've seen a lot of criminal justice policies that have been pushed forward that seem to tie the police hands in going after criminals. And you even had the Cook County Sheriff several weeks ago tell the Chicago Sun-Times that a measure in the Safety Act that allows for individuals who are criminal defendants on home monitoring to have 2 days of furlough to go out and take care of, quote, personal business. Well, apparently that's led to more than 120 people being rearrested in Cook County. And the Cook County Sheriff says this is a policy, obviously, that's not working. So he was advocating for it to be reversed. Lawmakers did not take that up before they left for spring session. So will they take it up this fall? Who knows? But I asked the governor. He made a stop in Springfield yesterday. He's on a tour across the state, highlighting the state budget when it comes to K through 12 education spending increases and higher education spending increases. So he made a stop at the University of Illinois Springfield yesterday and talked about the state budget when it comes to education. But off topic, I asked him about crime in Chicago, and with the Cook County Sheriff saying that some of the policies of the Safety Act need to be reversed, and even T.O. Hardiman, a violence interrupter in Chicago, saying that police hands are tied. So here's Governor J.B. Pritzker responding to whether or not enough's being done and whether or not there should be a reversal of some of the criminal justice policies the state's implemented. Here's the governor.
Well, number one, we should be supporting policing. We should be supporting law enforcement officers. I just came from the Medal of Honor awardee ceremony. We need to honor our police officers. That's number one. Number two, and support them. Number two, we are always evaluating what's going to make our criminal justice system more fair and also safer. Public safety, huge, high priority. We want to make sure that we're supporting that in every way we can. One of the important ways that we're doing that is trying to address the underlying causes of crime. As you know, when there's more poverty in a community, there's more likely to be criminal activity that arises in that community. The more we can lift people up, and we're doing it in a variety of ways, one of which is providing more education funding, early childhood education, alleviating some of the burden on young families. Those are examples. But every day we're thinking about how do we do this better, right? And I think Republicans and Democrats may have slightly different ways of going about it, but we all share the common goal that we want to see a reduction in crime. So providing, as we did, the peacekeepers and the funding for those who are violence prevention advocates, right, and the people who are actually on the street getting kids jobs for the summer is an important part of fighting crime. I think we would all agree that, idle hands, right, are, the devil's playground. And idle minds, and it's important for us to provide ways in which to reduce crime that's more than just supporting police officers. That's one component, but so many others that we need to address, and we're doing that.
So again, Governor J.B. Pritzker responding to my question of what's your response to those who say some of these recent criminal justice policies need to be reversed? Again, Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart saying that he's advocating to reverse the Safety Act policy that allows for 2 days of furlough for individuals who are criminal defendants being at home and monitored at home, saying that more than 120 people have been rearrested. And even T.O. Hardiman, who has done a lot of work in the city of Chicago to address crime and try to intervene in crime, he has said that, listen, police have their hands tied and they need to do more and be allowed to do more to go after criminals.
Put it like this. Some of the policies with law enforcement need to change, like you cannot chase nobody in the car. You cannot chase nobody on foot. those policies really need to be reversed.
So I'd like to hear from you as well at 217-629-7970. The Safety Act has a whole bunch of components in it. Right now, the provision of no cash bail is being considered by the Illinois Supreme Court, and whether or not that's going to be upheld and implemented, that still is yet to be seen. But some of these other provisions of the Safety Act that aren't challenged are in place, including the furlough, 2 days of allowing individuals who are criminal defendants to go on personal business, and then the Cook County Sheriff saying that's leading to several people being rearrested, and it's a problem that shows the policy isn't working. Ultimately, what happens here is going to be up to the Illinois Supreme Court, but also to the state legislature. Listen, there a couple of weeks ago, after the shooting death of an off-duty police officer, Ariana Preston, you had some in the Illinois House talking about how we might have to come back and revisit the idea of not having penalty enhancements. And penalty enhancements are things like, say, if you commit a crime and a gun's involved, then you get extra time because there was a gun involved. And some of these cases have people pleading down the gun charge and pleading for whatever other subsequent crime there may have been. And some have been pushing to say, no, there shouldn't be that option of that kind of plea deal. If a gun's involved, there should be really strict, stiffer penalties, penalty enhancements. But for some reason, the Democrats at the State House for years have had a prohibition on penalty enhancements, but only for some categories. There's been things like a variety of laws they've passed to go after businesses who might intervene in a labor protest and enhance penalties there. There's been measures that have passed both chambers to add penalties to pregnancy crisis centers that don't offer up abortion. There's been measures at the State House even to enhance penalties for the gun industry if the Attorney General deems that they're violating the Deceptive Practices Act. So there's a whole host of penalty enhancements for some at the State House, but not for others at the State House. So it begs the question of are policymakers going to hear what some on the ground are experiencing, like the Cook County Sheriff, like Tio Hardiman, like others? And is it enough to have $700,000 in grants go out for, quote, peacekeepers? And is that really going to solve the problem? And why is that the go-to issue, especially when such programs in the past, if you remember, Governor Pat Quinn had the Neighborhood Recovery Initiative, which sent millions of dollars to groups in Chicago, and audits found that those dollars were used to pay for exorbitant salaries and even some politically affiliated groups. And is that going to be, a rehash with this peacekeepers movement in Chicago? And how much is it going to cost moving forward throughout the entire summer? Because apparently the peacekeepers mission that is funded by your tax dollars from the state, $700,000 worth, that's only good through June. So what happens with the rest of the summer, let alone all of the other dollars that are going out for a variety of other programs? That is it really going to curb violence? That's the question. And Governor J.B. Pritzker seems to indicate that he's going to continue sending funds to various programs to try to curb violence.